Hi guys, welcome back to Table for Two
with Gwen
and Paris.
So for our second episode, we're going to be talking about things like mental health.
So I have some questions for you, Gwen.
Bet. B-E-T. Bring it on.
What can cause mental health?
Things like friends, family, school, and even like nothing at all. Like mental health is completely and utterly random. It can come and go on the most random people. It's not something that can like be really like planned. Like it's very random. So really anything can cause mental health.
Okay. What are some treatments for mental health?
Things like therapy can help, medication, like self-improvement and working on yourself. Like connecting with other people or unconnecting with some bad people in your life, or connecting with things or unconnecting.
Okay.
Really like trying to find what works for you and cutting out the bad things, but keeping what's pretty good like with you.
Okay. How can mental health affect your physical health and well-being?
It can do a lot of things. It can make you do like very irrational things. It can make you like it can like maybe you isolate yourself, or you like maybe harm yourself, or you harm the people around you, or you just maybe stop caring about your like well-being, like maybe not showering, or maybe not brushing your teeth, not really getting ready, just not really giving that effort in. So it can affect in multiple different ways, but it's just a lot of it is just like irrational things and stuff like that.
How can people around you be affected with your mental health?
The people around you can very, very much affect your mental health, whether it's in a very good way or a very bad way. Because if you're surrounding yourself with maybe people that have it like really bad, and that maybe becomes like normal for everything to be bad, you're not going to think of it like that. And if you're surrounding yourself with people that like think it's like funny, or think it's like not like it's like okay, that's gonna make you think that it's okay, and that's gonna like could make things worse. But if you're surrounding yourself with people that like understand and care and realize that that's not good and that this isn't okay, then they could help you take the steps to getting treatment and helping yourself and improving yourself, so you can get out of this like kind of dark time and all of that.
How does school affect your mental health?
I feel like school can affect your mental health. Like for me, I feel like it goes very like it's two very different ways. School can either be one of the worst things. You can have no motivation. You cannot like you're not doing your work. You're not paying attention in class. You could be just listening to music, blasting it, or sleeping, like maybe skipping. Like there's so like school can be so damaging where it's to the point where school is the reason that your mental health is deteriorating. But at the same time, I feel like school can very much help. Like if you're not feeling energized and you have no motivation and all of this, then I feel like going to school and seeing the people that maybe you don't see outside of school is very, very helpful. And maybe even seeing teachers, like your favorite teachers, I feel like it can like for different people maybe it's a mix, or maybe it's both, or maybe it's neither, like but it's very different back and forth. But like what do you think? Do you think school can affect your mental health?
Yeah, I think school plays a lot of part in like kids around our age, you know, like coming to school, like you can see like a lot of people down, but like once they get like to their friends, it's kind of like you can really see how it affects and changes a person.
You can see the difference.
Their like mood like totally changes. So I feel like school is like a big factor of mental health.
Do you think the people around you can affect your mental health, or do you think no?
I feel like because I feel like if you're a friend, like something happened to them, I feel like that like personally affects me, because just like knowing that it happened and like I'm like close to them, it's just like sad. Like when Joss got COVID, I got really sad. I got really, really sad.
Oh yeah, poor Jocelyn.
Yeah,
featuring Jocelyn.
Featuring Joss. We should go bring her on later.
Oh yeah,
we want to talk about your COVID time.
No, we don't. According to Consequence of Student Mental Health Issues, mental health can affect many areas of student life, which reduces the quality of their academic achievements. So, like, meaning that is that, like, this, like, students' mental health, whether, like, we're talking about, thanks, Bryce, whether we're talking about maybe, like, friends or home life or family or school, whatever it is, like, just students' life in general, it can very much take a toll on their academic, like, achievements and what they do and what they don't do in school, whether that means they're not doing their work and or they're sleeping in class, or they're not going to class. and they're like causing trouble at school, whatever it is, mental health has a huge effect on how people act and how people participate and how people just are at school. And I feel like that's not really talked about as much, and that's not really looked on. And I feel like that needs to be. I feel like that's something that's very important, that maybe some teachers and maybe some adults don't realize, that your mental health can get so bad that you put yourself before school and you maybe don't do your work. And I feel like some teachers need to be a little bit more understanding of that and realize that kids have lives like outside of school, and there's a lot of things that teachers don't know and don't think that go on that do, and they just need to be more understanding of that sort of part.
I 100% agree. Some actions that we're taking, some actions that you can take are
Psychiatric?
Which is a therapeutic treatment of mental illness provided by a trained professional, and or some people take medication or hospitalization. There's also like support groups where you can go in and kind of talk to somebody, which is like therapists.
People like a lot of support groups, it's maybe one therapist and then it's a whole bunch of people that are going through what you're going through, so you feel like you can like relate to them in a way that other people can't relate to you.
There's also complementary and alternative medicine. There you can make a self-help plan and a peer support.
Woo! Okay, girl. One of the articles that we looked at was what is mental health, and something like that kind of supports what our details are, because in the article it says a lot about how mental health can affect kids in different ways than adults. So some adults get affected where maybe like they won't really do a lot, and maybe they'll like fall behind in work, or they're just not as happy. But in mental health and like in kids, it can be so different. You can be the loudest one in the room and the one that seems the happiest and the one that's laughing the most and the one that's doing the most, but you can go home, or you can completely change into a person that you actually are, and you're just like faking that. And I feel like at school it is so different. Like I feel like it's so hard to tell at school what someone's going through, because the mask that people put on at school is just so ridiculous, and unless you really like ask that person or you were close with them and you know what's going on, you have like no idea.
Like mask, I thought of like COVID, like cough.
Okay.
Okay.
But just going back to that really quick, like some of the like quiet people could be either the happiest or saddest, and some of the loudest people can be the happiest or the saddest. Like you really have zero idea. I feel like school is so masked and so like you genuinely don't know what's going on.
So fake.
Yeah. Fake.
You can't curse. That, I guess I'm gonna leave that part in. I'm just gonna mute you.
Fake.
Shut up! Oh my gosh.
Beep that. No, you should beep it. You should
beep it.
Beep that off.
Oh my gosh.
Beep, 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 beep. Beep, beep, beep. Okay.
Sorry, I'm having personal problems. Gwen, what's one new thing you actually learned about that site?
So one thing that I learned like more about that I already kind of knew is that I said this before, is that mental health, and whether it's good or bad, cannot be controlled. It's not something, well, it can be controlled, but it's not something that you can like pick out. Like you could have a great life, a great family, you could have money, and you could have everything you wanted, but that does not mean you're happy. Like you could feel so depressed and have so much anxiety, or have so many different things wrong that like, but you have a good life, so it doesn't make any sense. Or you could be maybe like poorer, and you could be not living in the best conditions, not have the best things, but you could be just so happy, or you could be so sad. Like it just goes so many different ways. And I think that I learned more about how mental health, like especially like bad mental health, can come and go in different ways and come for different periods of time. And it's really hard to, it can be really hard to treat it, So, Paris, did you learn anything new, or did you learn more about something you already knew? Like, tell me a little bit about that.
So actually I tried to dig like more deep into mental health, and I went to the direction of like depression because I feel like that's more common now. And I found out some symptoms that I actually did not know because I kind of I don't know. But do you know what persistent depressed is? Because I have no clue, honestly.
Yes, I do, but...
Oh, would you like to explain it to me?
No, I think you can go.
Oh, okay, so persistent depressed is like natural like feel down, which I feel like a lot of people feel here because I still do. Like, what the heck?
School.
Yeah, it's school.
We're not gonna get into
we're not gonna get into that.
Episode.
Yeah. Knee slapper there, but okay. Feel down from time to time. A way you can tell if you're persistent depressed is like when you have like low moods and like if like lasts like longer than like normal. Like, you know, sometimes like you feel down for like a few minutes and then like out of nowhere, like it's just like you get out of that. But like persistent depressed is
Can you stop laughing about this topic? This is a very serious topic.
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. I laughed to hide the pain. Jessica was crying. I laughed when you said it was over. You shot right through my heart. Why you let this tear what we had right apart? Ooh, I was so mad. I should have seen this coming right from the start. You should beware, beware, beware of a woman with a broken heart. Oh!
Bleep out the hose part.
Yeah. Nice.
Okay.
Another symptom is loss of interest in things you once enjoyed.
To talk about loss of like interest in things that you once enjoyed, I can relate to that. And my thing is kind of my friends in sports. I am very much a like touchy person, and be around people. I love to be around my friends, and I love to always be doing something, and I love sports to death. I love softball and volleyball, and normally I used to be very like into it, and then there was a point in time where everything kind of switched, and I hated being around friends. I hated coming to school. I hated going to sports. It was all just kind of a wake up, school, come home, sleep, friends, maybe sports, come home, and then sleep and repeat. It was very just me going through the day, trying to get home again. I blew off my friends a lot. I just kind of sat in my room. I didn't really do anything, and that went on for quite a long time. And I hated it, and I hated myself, and I hated being around things. I hated doing a lot of the things that once brought me like a lot of joy. And my thing that I kind of realized that maybe I needed to get some help somewhere was when I started to hate softball, which, if you don't know me, I've done softball for 9 years, so it's always been the thing that I found comfort in. And when I started to like hate that and hate going, it's when I kind of realized maybe I needed to maybe get some help in a couple things. And I was going through a lot with myself and family, and I was depressed. I fell into that, and I cut off a lot of people, and I kind of cut off things for myself. And going back to what we were talking about earlier, like, I wasn't taking care of myself, and I started harming myself, and that became a lot, and it went on for way longer than I think it should have. And I think that when I finally reached out and said I needed help, I started going to therapy and got on medication, and it's been helping a lot since. And I'm starting to love being around my friends. It's one of my favorite things. I would be with all my friends every day if I could. And going to school, school has really helped, seeing the people that I don't normally see on a daily basis. That has really, really helped. And I've started to take care of myself and take time. If I need more time to do something, I'll get my more time, and I'll get the things that I need, like accommodations, so that I can keep up with maybe school, or just keep up with myself. And it's just like school has like helped that, but it also was like the bottom low was like coming to school at one point, and now it's one of my favorite things. Like it's just like a lot, like depression can really just like change of how you are, and like people noticed it. I was not myself, and I'm very like loud and out there, and it was not like that. So I think it's like depression is something that can really affect you without maybe you realizing it. Like I didn't think anything was wrong with me for months until my parents were worried and everyone around me. So I think it's very like depression is something that it's very hard to deal with on your own. And I think that it's not okay to go through anything like that alone. And I think having the people around me really affected that in good ways and bad. And then when I started surrounding myself with people that were a little like bit better for me, I think that really like changed the way I kind of looked at life, and it was very nice. And I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't change what I've gone through or what I will go through. I would never change that, because that has made me who I am. And I still have a lot of work to do, but I'm starting to love things again, and it's really nice, and I'm really starting to like it.
Thank you for sharing your experiences. I feel like a lot of people can relate to you.
So embarrassing.
No. What's it called? Would you say that therapy was like a really big help to this?
I definitely would. As much, I know a lot of people who think therapy is sort of like it's looked on in a bad way. It's maybe looked on as like you're weird, like, oh, you go to therapy, or it's like you can't do that. Like it's therapy is looked on in a very bad way, I feel like. But I truly feel like therapy like has changed so much about me. I changed therapists a couple times because none of them really felt right, but when I found the girl that I clicked with, I loved it. Like I love going because she like can help me realize that like I'm not worth like nothing. Like I have meaning, I have like I'm worth like something, and I have a purpose. But then she's also there to just help me with like day-to-day things. Like if I tell her I'm struggling, she'll help me get on a plan to like get on there. And it just feel like I've been going to this girl for about a year, and I feel like I would not be I don't think I would be here if I didn't start going. And I think that she made me open my eyes and realize that I'm not maybe okay, and I'm not, and it's okay, and it's okay to get help. And I feel like therapy is a place where you can truly be vulnerable, and you're not getting judged. Like they're a therapist or psychologist or wherever you go, their only job is to like truly help you. And I think that if you find the right person, I think that therapy is a great thing. And I think that you should not settle with a therapist unless you truly like them and truly think they're helping. And I just think that I truly think therapy is very beneficial if you let it be. Because if you have a therapist and you're not talking to them and you're not telling them everything, I don't think that you're getting anything out of it. So if you let it be beneficial, it will truly change a lot of things about you. And I really like that part of it.
That's good. Thank you for sharing your experiences.
Well, Paris, we talked a little bit about me. Let's talk a little about you. Have you ever gone through anything maybe like that, or now, or have you ever had anything where maybe like any sorts of mental health or anything?
There was a time like during COVID, like back in 7th grade, like I definitely wasn't in the best headspace. But like the people surrounding me at that time, I feel like thanks to them, like it was a lot, like there was like some people I had to cut off at the time because it was like they weren't good. It was kind of just like when they were around me, like I automatically like felt like negativity. So it was just like I feel like definitely like
they were breaking you down.
Yeah, it was like really bad. Worst friends ever. But yeah, they loved me so much. But yeah, I feel like people around you really have a lot to do with that, because once like I let the like negative people like leave like that space of mine, and it was just like just me and that one other person, it was like really good. And I was like that was definitely like one of the best times. So it was like really bad, and like school wasn't helping because there was just like I was at home all day and I just felt lazy, and it was just like now I have to wake up and like get on Zoom and just stare at my screen all day, and I just didn't want to. So I stopped showing up to classes, and I wanted to go out of town, so that's what I did, and I started doing school with, like, you know, back, like, I went to Atlanta during, like, half of the school year, and it was even worse there because it was just, like, negativity all in the house. It was just, like, one of the worst environments I feel like I've ever been in. But, like, having, like, that one person there, like, really helped a lot during that time. So I feel like definitely having, like, positive people is definitely something that's, like, you know, important.
Okay, it's okay to cry. And I don't think that's talked about enough.
Yeah.
I don't think the time during COVID was talked about enough, because I feel like when you try to talk to parents about it, or an adult, they're like, oh, I know what you've gone through. No, you don't.
Yeah.
You don't know what it's like to be cut off from school, your first year of middle school. You don't know what it's like to be cut off from school and your life and the people around you, and you don't know what it's like to not see anyone for a year.
Yeah.
And you don't know what it's like to try to go back to normal thing, and then everyone around you is getting COVID and some people around you are dying. You don't know what it's like to be a kid and cut off. No one knows what that's like except for us, and I feel like that's something that needs to be talked about a little bit more.
Yeah, I feel like COVID was, like, a really hard time for a lot of people, and it definitely should be something that's, like, talked about a lot more.
Yeah, and I think that as much as parents try to understand and try to be there for us, they will never, ever understand. No parent will ever truly understand what it felt like to be just cut off, and I don't think, like, anyone can, like, I feel like everyone has their own experiences, but I feel like genuinely we all went through the same thing, and it needs to be talked about a lot more. And yeah, so thank you for sharing. That was really nice, and I'm proud of you.
Thank you. I'm proud of you too, Gwenny. So, Gwen, is there, like, any other, like, things, like, explaining the mental health that you, like, think is, like, also not talked about enough?
I think depression is probably the most common like mental disorder, but things like anxiety is truly, I feel like everyone truly has anxiety, and things like ADHD and maybe even like OCD, but then also things like eating disorders, because that's very much a mental thing. I feel like some of those aren't talked about as I feel like they are talked about, but maybe not in the way that they should be for, like, kids. Like, anxiety is something that can it can affect so many different people in so many different ways. Like, anxiety can make you think, and it can make you cry, and it can make you overthink, and it can make you but it can also make you not care and not feel like this or not feel like that, but it can also make you feel more than this. So I feel like anxiety, it's just so general, and it's just so something that I feel like everyone goes through eventually, and I feel like it's a little bit hard to talk about because you could have an experience that is so different from someone else, but maybe another person has the exact same experience as you and understands that, but other people won't. Like, it's so, like, general, and I feel like it's kind of hard to, like, pinpoint. Yourself, what do you think?
I also kind of agree with that, because I feel like a lot of people, like, some people have, like, social anxiety, or it's just, like, out of nowhere, like, there's, like, that one moment where it's just, like, your social battery dies out. It's just, like, you don't want to be there anymore. I feel like that happens to a lot of people at, like, random times. So it's, like, yeah, I feel like definitely everyone has to have, like, anxiety. Like, it's just, like, that's, like, something I feel like nobody can, like, avoid, like, that feeling where it's just, like, too many people around, or, like, you start, like one of my friends' experiences, like, we were, like, out somewhere, like, out of town, and it was, like, this moment where we were on a roller coaster, and there were, like, a lot of people there, and they happened to get off of it, and I still went on, and then I come down, and, like, they're freaking out, and there's just, like, a lot of people, and it's just, like, at that moment, like, we kind of just, like, walked away, you know, like...
Sometimes you need to take a second. Even with any type of anxiety, there's multiple different types of anxiety. Even, like, just some common is, like, social anxiety. Like, that's a pretty common one. With social anxiety, a lot of the time people just need to take a break. And even with other types of anxiety, sometimes just everything becomes overwhelming, or you think a little too much and that becomes overwhelming.
Gwen, what are some actions that are being taken for mental health?
I would say, like, I'm just gonna, like, focus on schools for this. Some actions that have been taken in schools for mental health is a lot of schools have been making, like, accommodations for students. I know that here at Julian we have IEPs, and you can set up a 504, and you can get accommodations with things like test taking or projects, and I think that's really like it's helping a lot with a lot of different students.
Mhm.
And like just schools are now making a lot of accommodations for a lot of students that struggle, and there's psychologists and there's therapists and there's social workers that you can talk to and you can feel safe with, and if you just need to take a break, you can go over there and just give yourself a break and talk. And I feel like it's very nice, and I feel like schools, especially like Julian, it's becoming like it's becoming like really good. Like they're accommodating a lot of things really well for a lot of different people, because there's times where you can be sitting in class laughing and then randomly you just have like you get all stressed, or you're getting anxious, or you can't stop moving, or you feel like you're gonna cry or scream or shout, and you maybe just need to go and take a break. And I feel like schools are getting better at that, but I feel like the teachers in the schools need to maybe like help a little bit more with that. Maybe like going back to what we said earlier of how some teachers, I feel like, think that since we're kids we don't have it like bad, but like I know from maybe my personal experience, I have a lot of things that have gone bad, maybe especially with maybe like friends and family. Like I have a lot of family things that I don't want to talk about in school and I don't want to tell teachers, but they just think that since I'm a kid, like everything's fine. I feel like a lot of people have experiences like that and go through a lot of the same thing, and I feel like it needs to be talked about a little bit more in teachers. But I feel like schools overall have been really helping with that. What do you think?
I think that too. I feel like when a student kind of like not like fully expresses it, but kind of just says like, hey, you know, like I kind of do have like home things going on right now. I love how like some teachers are like really understanding of that now, because like a while back, like if you were to say, yeah, I have this home thing going on, they'd kind of just be like, okay, well, you know, you like still got to get it done. Like teachers now, I feel like they kind of like get in, they're kind of like, okay, well, you know, like communicate with me and kind of like express like how much longer you think it'll take you and stuff. I love how more like open they are about things, because they understand like we went through a pandemic, like we're like this is our first like full year like fully in school, and like we're not like online and doing stupid hybrid. Oh my gosh,
Hybrid sucked so
bad.
God, that was so. What even was that? It was like 1 week in, 3 weeks out. 2 weeks in, 1 week out. 4 weeks out, 2 days in. Like it was
really bad. Some people like there were like 6 kids in a classroom.
Yeah, there was either 6 kids or like 37. There was no in between.
Jeez.
No, there would be so many people in one class because the teachers would be out. It was so bad. I don't even know. I just glad we're out of that now. Okay, so would you like to add anything as we wrap up?
More than 43 million Americans struggle with mental health illnesses.
I don't think people, maybe like I don't think a lot of people recognize that there's people that are struggling and you may have zero idea. Like, I don't think a lot of people recognize that, and I think that needs to be talked about a little.
I feel like another thing too is like it could be way more than that, because there are like some people who like grew up in like households, and their households like don't really talk about mental health, you know?
Or they're embarrassed and they don't want to see anyone.
So they don't like see anyone, so it's just like that's like balled up, and like they'll never know. Like I know some people who like grew up in like households like that, and they like never really got the help that they needed, and they kind of just like still don't get the help that they need, because they're just like that's what they find normal, and I feel like that's so sad.
Yeah, I don't think it's good, and I think that there's more people that struggle than we think.
Yeah. You want to wrap it up?
Yeah, okay, so right before we're ending this, our second podcast, I would like to say, if you are struggling, if you're struggling with any type of mental illness, or maybe you don't know if it's a mental illness, or if you're just struggling in general, please maybe talk to someone like Mr. Murawski, talk to Mr. Christian, or Mr. Lee, or Mr. Green, or Miss Carr, or what's the psychologist's name? Miss Scale? I'm
unsure. Maybe go to the media center, because that's where they like meet, right?
I couldn't exactly think of her name, but like maybe the school like psychologist, she's really helpful. Just really like you can get help at school. If you can't get it at home, you can get it at school, and I think that it's very, very important to reach out, because it can be before maybe you reach out, it could be too late. And I don't want anyone, it's awful to go through anything like that alone. And I feel like if you are struggling, the best thing you can do is try to get help for yourself before you truly, it's like too late for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was, okay, so now wrapping up our second episode. Paris, want to add anything before we end it?
I completely agree with you. I feel like get help definitely before, like, it's just like you really don't want to do anything at all. You know? Like, getting help is probably...
And being there for your friends.
Yeah.
That's a big thing. You don't, as you could have friends that seem like the happiest people, but could be going through the worst things. So making sure you're staying there for them no matter what, through everything.
Don't be a crappy friend.
Yeah, don't be
an L.
Don't be an L person.
Ratio.
So that is kind of concluding our second episode. Thank you for tuning into Table for Two. Table for Two, out.